Hello, John again. Uh, Today's a little more of a martial arts talk. I want to say something about, I guess, sort of a warning about cats. They're trying to kill you, all of them, except maybe Maine Coons. Anyway, that's not it, but it just was sort of serendipity, and Shen said hi, and a couple of the recent ones. So it's Luna Aria's turn to say hi too. And look at he's tiny and evil. Anyway, be wary. Um, Not necessarily be rude and obtusely question, but be wary of the martial arts teachers who have made up their own style, because by and large, no, they didn't. By and large, what they did is they just, I call them like collectors, people who have done, I've done a little bit of karate, I've done a little bit of kung fu, I went and did Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and MMA, and then this, and all within like 3 years, they did 20 different things. In general, be wary of anyone who's sort of done everything in a short amount of time, because they're probably full of it. If someone's like 22 and, they've trained in Shaolin and they were in Thailand and they had all these fights and they did all this other stuff, no, you didn't. That's too much and too little of a time. Who you're trying to impress. But mostly people who are, oh man, I made my own style up. They're just ego monsters. Uh, and no, they didn't. They're just flying their arms and legs around in a way that they think is cool. Granted, if you have a martial arts routine, like a proper one, shall I say, that has some history behind it, a little bit of bite, you can actually trace a lineage. It's another thing to kind of look out for if you have a martial arts teacher that can't tell you jack about their teaching lineage. Be wary because, again, you don't know what the heck you're getting. You know, um, but they're just probably, oh, well, this was cool and this was cool and this was cool, and they just threw it together without any sort of sense of actually making a process, making a system to it. Give you an example. The new karate guy that said, oh, well, I just made my own Tai Chi, I don't need to learn it. Tai Chi is not your martial art slow. It's not. Real Tai Chi Chuan is the 8 energies, Peng Li Jian, Kei Zhu Kao, and the 5 directions, forward, back, left, right, center. You put that together, your movements need to have at least one, if not more of those energies, or the potential for more than those energies into it, and you need to have those methods of stepping in with it as well. Otherwise, it's not Tai Chi. So if you have some guy who's like, oh, so and so Taekwondo and my own system of Tai Chi, and they're like, well, yeah, I just watched a bunch of Tai Chi stuff, and then it's really just this other thing slow. It's not Tai Chi. They didn't make up their own form. It's all ego. The people who genuinely make up their own systems, I mean, are amazing. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I made up my own thing. I'm not going to say I'm smarter than Yang Chen Fu or Chen Zing or Chen Wan Ting, Yang Chen Fu, Sun Lu Tong. I'm not smarter than any of those guys. Dong Ai Chuan, Yin Fu, uh, Chen Tinghua. I'm not smarter than those guys. Now, for my own personal benefit, I might be able to, you know, cut and paste and like, when I do this, I really feel like I can turn over and do that and play that on my own. But I know my teacher's teacher, Grandmaster Hu Yu, and my teacher has worked on it as well as a synthesizing of Tai Chi Chuan and Bagua Zhang. And guess what? They were working on it for years. Years. And Grandmaster Hu at this point in time now has probably got at least 70 some odd years into playing internal martial arts. At least 70 something years right now. It was like 50 something, like when I started training. So it's not just, okay, some guy in some convenience store, corner store with family specials and cardio kickboxing nonsense and everything like that. And everyone wants to point to Bruce Lee. Yeah, Bruce Lee didn't train in traditional martial arts super long. He did Wing Chun for 3 years. His like grandpa or something had one of the Wu style Tai Chis that he studied with a little bit. But let's look at a significant difference here. Jeet Kune Do isn't necessarily a martial art form, it's more of a philosophy. It's one that he's spelled out fairly vigorously and has gone over and has books about and everything like that. And he did kind of collect and train boxing and fencing, karate, and all these other things and everything like that. But he tried to pull a certain fundamental root out of things and then taught it as a philosophy more than anything else. And let's be honest, how many of us are training like Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee spent his whole day working out and training. And when he wasn't doing that, he was, working on movie stuff. He was writing scripts, doing the action choreography, maybe some of the directing himself, learning the lines, acting in them, teaching other people. There's a reason why you have these horrific headaches and your body fails after taking some aspirin, with some allergy issues and anything like that, or not, when you're in that good a shape. He had no body fat, like whatsoever, and he was massively intense. He trained all the time. How many of us are doing that? Even those of us who are teachers and really enjoy our art and train for probably more than the majority of people who might even be enthusiastic about the art. We don't. Even those of us who are teaching full time or have our own schools, we're not training like Bruce Lee did. So get it out of your head that you're Bruce Lee. If you create your own system, what's the philosophy behind it? Where did you pull from and why? Are you trying to say that, this is a better way to go than that? Why? Even if you're like, well, it's still Xingyi, but it's my form, Xingyi. What are you doing differently than these other systems of Xingyi, and why is that better? You're going to talk about internals and like that, then how is that helping your, if your drilling is like this as opposed to this, how is that helping your kidneys? Because Zhuanshuan drilling is water element, works on your kidneys. How is that any different in your kidneys than the other stuff that you're doing? I made up my own Tai Chi. Okay, then show me Peng. Made up your own Tai Chi. Peng should be the keystone Jing, the keystone energy that you are putting into everything. Everything's probably got a little bit of Peng in it. Where's your roll back? Roll back's the poster child. Yield and redirect. Where's your yield and redirect? If all you're doing is advancing and all you teach is advancing, it's not Tai Chi because you don't have stepping back or left and right. Do you have any center movements? Will you stay there for a moment? Have you taught your breathing? I'm going to do a whole other thing on breathing here shortly too. But what's your breathing like? Well, it's not Tai Chi. You haven't done internals if you haven't taught us Dantian breathing. Postnatal Dantian breathing, that gets put on internals in Qigong. Now there are variations of that and things like that, but if you don't teach breathing, you're not doing internals. If you're doing externals, does breathing have a certain amount of things with it too? Where are you getting it from? So, just sort of a cautionary tale. If someone tells you, oh, I made up my own martial art. No. They fed into their own ego, and that's pretty much about the way it is for it. And be careful if they can't tell you anything about their teaching lineage either. To me, that's suspicious. I can talk about my master Rick Mayer and his teachers, Master Will Duncan, Grandmaster Hu Yu. Master Will Duncan learned things from Joe Petroni. Master Hu Yu learned from Hua Cha Rong, Yi Da Mi, Bai Bing Ru. Hua Cha Rong, as an example, was a bodyguard in the Imperial Palace. They learned directly from the Sun family for the Sun style Xingyi and Bagua. That's where they got the Cheng style Bagua too. They learned directly from Yang Chen Fu for the Yang style Taiji. lineage in with that, and then it goes on with those family systems from there, back and back and back and back. You get Yang Chen Fu is the grandson of Yang Lu Sen, who learned from Chen Wangting, who was, I think, 14th generation, I think, Chen style, and like the ninth one was like Chen Jianjing, and he learned from the one Wang, and then formulated from that. It's coming in from Zhan Feng from Wudang Mountain, etc., etc., etc. The person credited with Bagua, Dong Ai Chuan, person credited with Xingyi Jilong Feng, who said that he learned this manual from something even further back from that. Yu Fei, one of the sort of three friends with Guan Yu and Liu Bei from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So there's connections and lineage. They can't. I'm not. It just bothers me when people take the art and take it and just make it just sort of. You can have it. You can be good. You can be proficient. You can be in it a long time and still be, you know what? I still got a lot to learn. It's okay. You should be doing that. Doing it for 10, 12 years and be like, I know everything, I'm done. I'm going to make my own style up. And all you're doing is just, instead of doing this, you're doing this. Get your head out of it, man. Get your ego out of it. It's not about that. It's about how you're becoming better, how you're processing yourself, how you're pushing yourself to be something different, something beyond, something better, and how you can help bring people along with that too. It's not about your bank account. It's not about your name on a wall and a plaque. It's not about your picture in a magazine or a book. Shut up and keep training. If that's where you're at, like, I made my own form, and well, it's kind of a little, and maybe it's unless you can give me a clear, definitive philosophical background for it and tell me the foundation, the basics, and everything like that. Stop. You're giving the rest of us a bad name, and every time you get some guy doing some fake Bruce Lee whoops or some other thing like that, it just degrades everything else, and the people who have literally died for these arts are just sitting there going. And the rest of us who are still living and trying to be better and are fighting the prejudice we get that you're creating are also going. So, cautionary tale if you're looking for a martial arts master and they start bragging about making up their own form. You guys who are sitting there bragging about making up your own form, why are you really doing it? Right? Thank you. Like, share, comment if you want to, I guess. And subscribe, all that good YouTube-y stuff. See you next time.